ANC Treasurer General Paul Mashitile has emphasized President Cyril Ramaphosa's call for the public and private sector to work together to restore jobs. He says the government alone cannot succeed in this mammoth task without a partnership with the private sector. The governing party's Treasurer General is speaking at the Progressive Business Forum post-Sona briefing to unpack some of the key features of the President's address.
The government alone will not succeed in this task. And that's why the President would have emphasized the issue of working together with the private sector to ensure that there's strong partnership between the government and the private sector to rebuild our economy. The President announced, many of you will recall that he announced that government will make available about 100 billion rands for infrastructure in our country, and therefore asking the private sector also to come on board. There are a number of things that we need to do in South Africa. One of them is to ensure that we invest heavily in infrastructure like freight and commuter rail, roads, building of dams, bridges. So infrastructure is one of those areas where we would like to invest heavily on to be able to not just grow the economy but create jobs, particularly amongst young people.
And now to developments in the governing party. Mashatile says the ANC has paid staff salaries for January, but will need more funds for the months to come.
No, indeed, we're doing our best to make sure that the ANC staff gets paid. We have done that. We've now paid them up to the end of January, but I'll need more money for February and March. So support is welcome.
For more on the story, I'm joined by Nasiphi Same, who has been tracking the story for us. Nasiphi, good morning. Not looking good for ANC staffers.
Not looking good indeed, but I mean the ANC Treasurer General Paul Mashitile saying that as much as they've made headway in terms of keeping up with those payments for ANC staffers, they are looking at getting possibly donations for the month of February to ensure that the staff is paid. I mean, just the last year alone, the staff of the ANC went months without payment. We heard the grievances from them, some going as far as saying that they have not been able to pay bonds, including policies. However, the Treasurer General today is saying that they are working on that. And at this post-Sona breakfast, with the business sector, he went as far as saying that as much as this year will be a busy year, that is the various the policy conference mid-year, including the various conferences and the national conference at the end of the year, they are, they are going to ensure that not only will they come out as a united organization, but also renewing the organization to ensure that come 2024, when the national elections come, they will be above the 50% mark, saying that now is going to be a time where they go to grassroots level to attend to those service delivery challenges and ensure that they do their part. And he's saying that by doing that, then they will be able to get those figures in, including reaching above 50%, going as far as saying that as the ANC, not only did they throw their weight behind the President's address yesterday, but also it spoke to the challenges or the core challenges that the country is faced with following the COVID-19 COVID-19 pandemic that had a devastating impact on the economy, going as far as saying that as government, or rather the party will support government in creating a more conducive environment for private sector and businesses to grow. That will then allow those business, or rather that will allow then the issue of unemployment to be addressed. And he did say that the investment into infrastructure will also be a way in government creating those much needed jobs.
Now, coming back to that statement by Paul Mashitile, hoping for donations for salaries for February. Now, that's hardly sustainable, Nasiphi.
Not sustainable at all. I mean, he is hoping that the ANC or the organization receives this particular donation to meet the target in order for them to pay these salaries. I mean, at this very moment, I don't think that, listening to something like that as an ANC staffer is pretty much reassuring. Taking it, or rather, it's not reassuring, taking into account the many months and the battles, including the protest that, played out last year by the ANC staffers who were just asking for their salaries. I mean, speaking to one in December ahead of Christmas, they were saying that they actually don't have anything, and all they hope for is just a little bit of an injection or cash injection of their salary into their pockets in order to not only pay for fees, but to ensure that their children also enjoy the festive season. So not reassuring at all, but he did not really go much into detail in that regard, other than the fact that they are hoping for those donations for them to make those payments for February.
Nasiphi Same, thank you for your time this morning.